good on left foot, sir?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Rolling B.
Audio's rolling.
Rolling A. Action. Okay. Let's start with the easy one. Give us your full name and the spelling.
Sure. Joshua Snyder, Joshua.
And what do we call you in regards to this bar? Manager?
The operator.
Operator. Okay. How long have you lived in Arizona?
About 30 years.
And my understanding is you are in the process of, or you just bought a home?
We close next Friday.
Okay. How long were you looking?
Well, there's a little bit of a timeline due to our lease agreement, and we were looking for about, once we got to go ahead, about a month. So I think we got, prior to that, we'd been looking for a couple of years.
So off and on.
Yeah, off and on.
What were you looking for?
We were looking for location, something big enough for me, my wife, and expected family and entertain. And had a couple boxes of check, like pool, garage, things like that.
Did you get everything you're looking for?
I think we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many bedrooms you end up with?
We ended up with 3 in a loft, and then 2.5 bath.
Would you describe it as a easy process, a frustrating process?
I think with our realtor Adam Bowman and our team, Julie Doyle, they made it pretty easy, but I could see how it would be a pretty difficult process. It's very tedious.
You said you lived here 30 years. Did you grow up here?
I grew up in the Bay Area. I came out here right around 7th grade.
So you would have lived with your family at some point.
Yeah.
Compared to your parents' generation, buying a house now is...
I'm not sure what process they went through. I think, like I said, ours is a little bit streamlined, but I know there's a lot that goes into it. All the information that they ask you, and you have to provide them with documentation. And I'm sure they deal with some home buyers that aren't as prompt or eager, so we're pretty diligent in giving them that information. Make the process a little bit smoother.
You get a sense... How old are you?
45.
45. Okay. So, you know a lot of other 45-year-olds who own what they're living in?
Yeah, I would say it's actually 50-50 given my profession and my social circuits. About 50-50.
Finish this sentence for me. The cost of housing is...
Higher than it has been. I feel like it jumped 30-40% in 3 years. Yeah.
What's driving that?
I think, well, there's a couple companies that have been coming into Arizona and buying a ton of homes, entering into the rentals. Sucking up that inventory makes it a little bit difficult. I know I've read that there's been some restrictions on zoning, making it difficult to develop new homes. And bringing the population of homes in the area up so that inventory is high, but drop down some rental monthly payments and housing market. It's kind of a double-edged sword though, because we do want more development to bring the housing market down, but at the same time, we know that a lot of people are moving in Arizona. It's a sacred place.
Well, and that was my next question. We know that there's been a record influx of people from California or from other parts of the country.
Yeah.
Them moving into Arizona has made the state
a little saturated. We would like to say that Arizona's kind of the best kept secret. Some of the resources and amenities here are just amazing. And now the secret's out. And so the pandemic caused a lot of people to move in here from certain states. It's pretty saturated. We still have the heat of summer. So you can see Arizona truly what it's at. And then I'm in the area of Scottsdale, which has a very high level of tourism. So it's hard to know what the population is here with going through 7 months of the year where it's just super populated. But it kind of makes you think that, wow, there's many people moving there even during these times.
It's making it sound.
Yeah.
How are we doing on audio?
That we heard that.
We heard that.
Everything else was fine.
Okay.
You know, the car was a little bit. But.
Okay. In your view, how easy is it to buy a home right now?
I think the hardest part about buying a home right now is probably finding what you want at a price that you want it and the location that you want it. And for that reason, it's a little difficult. The inventory isn't as high. I know in the area that I was looking at times I would see maybe less than a handful, 2 or 3 homes at the even price that I could afford, not to mention all those boxes that we were talking about. Whereas, 10 years ago, you could easily look on the platforms and find multiple homes. So I think for that reason, it's a little
It's
different.
everyone else too.
Does that,
I remember they changed.
you're a 45-year-old, small
Yeah.
business owner, married.
Yeah.
This was not an easy process.
No,
Should it have been?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it should be easier to find what you want. But yeah, no, it's a little difficult.
You sit at the nexus of the state's economy then in many ways. You're a bar, you sit at a roofing company,
Yeah.
design company, they just bought a house.
Yeah.
How's the economy in your view?
I think inflation has taken a toll on the economy in general. It's difficult. You see prices of a burger go from $8 to $15. You see meals and cost of goods just dramatically increase out of nowhere. People aren't used to it. It plays a difficult ingredient in the economy. I think.
Yeah, we need to redo that again.
Start again with the burger.
I mean, you see a burger go from $8 to $15 out of nowhere. It literally, within a year's span, all these cost of goods dramatically increase. That plays a pretty negative impact on the economy. So when you see that, all of a sudden you can't take a family of 4 out for the cost of $20, $30. Now you're looking at 40, 50, almost double. Even a fast food place, I see these hats out there that say, make carne asada burritos $5 again. And yeah, truly, that's a perfect example of the raise of the inflation of what we see from the cost of goods.
Was the economy better off than it is now 4 years ago?
I think the perception is there that was a lot better.
Perception is there,
Yeah.
but in your view, was it better?
I don't know if I'm educated enough to know that the actual economy is doing better. I think it is not doing very well right now
Why not?
because of the reason of inflation, because of our deficit just being kind of written off and coming up with money out of thin air and using that to cover expenses after expense. So that's kind of a leading ingredient to the rising inflation.
And if I'm hearing you right, you had to raise prices on hamburgers nearly 50%,
Yeah.
which leads to staffing issues,
Oh yeah,
supply
payroll.
issues.
Payroll is a big one. I mean, the controllable costs. So you have controllable costs and uncontrollable costs. Uncontrollable would be your rent, electricity, and whatnot. But the controllable cost is I have to buy product and sell it. I have to pay my employees. Those are some pretty high controllable costs. And you see those go from a certain dollar per pound and almost double, like you said. Yeah, you have to kind of rise to the challenge and make sure that you don't go under. And you comp out prices in the area, and you're noticing everyone's doing it because that's when you go to a restaurant, you're like, man, $15 for a burger, but then you go to the next restaurant, you have to come to believe, oh, maybe it cost them $15.
And on top of all those costs you have as a business owner, now you have mortgage.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're probably feeling the pinch.
Yeah.
And yet, you can afford to buy a home
Yes.
after 3 or 4 years of living.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned before, I do have multiple revenue streams. Work from sun up to sundown, so
But even then, it was hard to find somewhere
Correct.
that you could afford,
yeah,
and that you even wanted to live in.
it was.
You said something earlier that I think is at the crux of the political argument. The perception is
Yeah.
the economy was better 4 years ago than it is now. When you think about that issue, when you think about what's coming in November, does that influence at all your thinking on how you might vote?
Yeah, I think it'll influence it. I think I would look at the right candidate that would support some common sense, some financial decisions to actually attack the economy where it's at, the inflation rate, the interest rate, the housing market. A candidate that would actually attack those issues would probably have my vote over somebody who doesn't support those issues.
Has Joe Biden done that over the last 4 years?
From my perception, no.
Did Donald Trump do it over the course of his 4 years?
I think he was a little bit more business-minded, and it was at least in his mind, forefront of his mind, to increase the economy.
And do you trust that he could do better in the next 4 years if he was elected?
I'm not sure.
You're the definition of an undecided voter.
Say that. I mean, I lean more towards conservative and common sense.
But you may have your reservations.
Sure.
When it comes to what, if anything, government could or should do to help make the home buying process easier, what, if anything, should be?
I think there's one thing that they could do with the companies I talked about coming in and buying up all these homes. I think there should be a little bit of a restriction there. I understand, there's capitalism involved. They want to make money. They see a great market. They're going after it. They should have the freedom to do that. But at what cost to the home buyers out here and these generational home buyers right now that can't get into something they want, are making the process more difficult. So that would be one thing that I could see being a positive change or something that people are about to face. Maybe with the growth of Arizona to produce new homes, I know that there's some zoning restrictions that have caused developments to not move forward and create the inventory that we need with it. But again, that's a little bit of a double-edged sword. You want the price of the homes to go down, so it's a tough one.
Let me ask it this way, and this may come out of left field to someone like you, maybe it doesn't. Yeah, this guy just right here. Not a shot. Do you think there's something President Biden did or didn't do that made it easier or harder for you to buy homes?
I would say maybe, yeah, when he was able to pay off some deficit, pay for things and expenses, and air raising inflation, was having a little bit to do with that. But I just don't think it was on the forefront of his mind.
So he could have been doing more than address inflation.
I believe so. Yeah. He's the guy in charge.
Do you hold him responsible for the economy, or is it beyond him?
No, he has a whole cabinet of people. There's a lot of people involved. There's a lot of decision makers. I wouldn't hold one individual accountable for crisis if that's what it is.
You know that this is a state that's going to get a lot of attention from all sides. Because you are a legitimate battleground state. There's only like 7 Democrats.
Yeah.
What do you need to be hearing or not hearing from the candidates?
What I need to be hearing is that the financial health of our country is at the forefront of their campaign. I think that's one of the very important things in the macro part of our country. And it's literally, that's the one thing that will tie us as individuals to politics and to the government. Some people say, oh, it doesn't matter who I vote for, it doesn't really affect me. When it comes impacts to the economy, that is one thing that we are directly affected by. So that would be something that I would need to hear and to coincide with my beliefs and hopefully beliefs of many to make us healthier financially.
I asked you that you finished the sentence, the cost of housing is the question, right?
Yes.
I asked you about people moving to Arizona.
Correct.
And I asked you this earlier, but let me ask it again. Compared to your parents' generation, do you think buying a home now is harder or easier?
Tough one. I still know what they were going through. I think it would be harder. I remember when my dad moved out here, moved the whole family from the Bay Area, Silicon Valley, and we were able to find a house pretty quick at a good price. And I remember him mentioning it to me. So for you to ask me now, it wasn't easy and quick to find a house, and it wasn't at a good price. But yeah, so get more difficult.
It does sound like Arizona's got a supply and demand issue.
Oh, 100%. That's what's causing the difference. Part of buying homes is price.
What else should we know, either about the home buying process or about the economy?
What should we know? Well,
Why is it that every goddamn golf cart is driving by suddenly after we start this interview?
you know,
And they're not electric. They certainly don't sound
we're on a
electric.
busy corner. Lots of people going places.
It's like they heard you were starting to talk and they decided to show up.
Totally.
We're days sitting here going, God damn it.
Yeah.
Well, what else should we know?
What else should we know about the home buy? Well, you should probably just prepare yourself for building your nest egg and possibly sacrificing some wants and some boxes that you might not be able to check. I was fortunate enough to work my tail off. I worked for about 5 years towards this goal, and I was able to get just like I wanted, but it was definitely just some sacrifice. So,
Was there anything on the wish list you had to cross off and say that's just
I don't know.
okay?
Yeah.
Am I forgetting anything?
No, I mean, but it sounds like so the economy is like you're not voting this year.
What's that?
It sounds like the economy is you're not voting this year, right?
Yeah, for me.
For you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the financial health of the country is probably my number one issue.
But you're undecided right now.
I am undecided right now. I mean, like I said, I lean more towards the conservative side. I'm not sure if I trust Trump as the one, but you know, has to be said in some of these debates coming up. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
See who else also comes out of the woodworks. I mean, who's it? Bob Kennedy is been a little bit of a front runner amongst people in my generation, I've seen. So,
What do you know about him?
not too much. And I actually wrote it down. There's a couple interviews I'm looking forward to watching to maybe educate myself on who he is and what he's all about.
But it's a name you've heard of.
His name has been a little bit more popular. And I mean, I haven't heard of him until about a few months ago, being in this race.
As a bar owner, I imagine when people aren't staring at their phones,
Yeah.
things do come up around the bar.
Yeah.
How often is politics?
I think it's still prevalent in politics and sports. Those are social topics. They'll never go away.
Is it uglier though? Are we talking about that? You think?
I think isn't it always ugly?
Some extent.
To some extent. Yeah, no one's talking about politics in a beautiful manner. So,
All right. I think that does it.
cool.
And I think those golf carts should be condemned.
Yeah.
Like
Let's do electric golf carts.
Or at least they should be electric,
Electric.
yes.
So I want to know if they're attached to an app. Are they just taxis?
No, they're. It's funny. They're
Plow,
not around now.
they plow.
And they're not around when you
Are we
need them.
doing
They
any
just.
wide shots or anything?
They drive around looking
Okay,
for people.
stop
They literally
roll.
will stop you and be like, "Need a ride? Need a ride?"
And it's a you can attach.
Yeah, and I mean it's a low entry job. You know, they can get one of those for about $300 a week, and then they keep everything over that.
Yeah.
Then they're insurance free, whatnot. So I've had some buddies that have done it and made like $1,500 in a week, and just kind of got to be out there hustling, driving around corners like this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Dave, you want to take this?
Are we getting B-roll now, or should I just zoom out?